It is week 14 and we're back for week 14. And then we're gonna go next week, we're gonna go to 15, and after that 16, and then 17, and then 18, and then we got the playoffs. Where hopefully we can get all these garbage teams out and we can watch some good games every week and try to figure out what's gonna happen. All right.
Speaking of garbage teams.
Yeah, more backup quarterbacks playing. I forget who said it. Someone told me, they're like, "Oh yeah, there's been 60 some starting quarterbacks this year," and obviously it's getting even worse
Like a third of the league.
Yeah, there's another new one this week. So let's get into it. Tonight we have a game that maybe was supposed to be good when the season started, but it is definitely not.
Maybe.
The Patriots at the Steelers. I have the Steelers by 7.
I have the Steelers by 2.5. So you're gonna get this one, but I don't understand this line.
All right. So I think I'm close.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
It opened at 6.5 and it went
6.
down.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, can the Steelers even score 7 points?
I get that one.
I don't know.
Well, the Patriots scored 0 last week.
I know, but
but they didn't give up 7.
Right, but then if they get 0, maybe 6 is right? Because what are the Patriots have held teams to under 10 points the last 3 weeks?
And lost them
all 3 of them, yeah. So I think it went like 10 and 6, 10 and 6 is what the team scored, and then the Patriots lost all 3 games because I think they were blanked on the last one. But yeah,
so maybe that's why Belichick is hanging on to a thread. He's like, I'm a defensive guy, and we're not giving up any points. So
nothing.
I just don't have any talent. No. Well, you were involved in the draft process, right? Well, yeah, but no, I don't know.
Did you hire Matt Patricia to be your offensive coordinator? You're fired.
You got rid of him. You made a good call and got rid of him.
Why did he make that call in the first place?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I don't.
All right, let's dissect this real quick and try not to spend a lot of time. So the Steelers are 7-5, and I started trying to figure out like these tiebreakers because it's getting to that point.
Yep.
The NFC, there's like 4 teams that are 6-6, and in the AFC, there's like 4 or 5 teams that are 7-5. And if you look at the tiebreakers, I mean, I think you just have to have a full season because, like, if you look at one tie, like the first tiebreaker, like you can't break all the ties. But then if you look at the second tiebreaker, then it just makes it really confusing. So I think we just have to get a full slate of games before we can really figure out who's ahead of who. But the Steelers, I think, are in if it ended today.
They are. There's a lead wild card.
So Kenny Pickett
is out.
Yeah, he had an ankle injury going into last week, which I don't think I really realized. It was all spatted up, and then he tried to get in, like he tried to score on like it wasn't a sneak, it was like a scramble, and he got stuffed at the half-yard line, and just his ankle was not okay. So you get Bailey Zappi against Mitch Trubisky.
Mitchy T. Right.
So you were saying you were going that the Steelers, like you, based on your guess and how I frame these, you're saying that the Patriots are like basically as good as the Steelers, even though it's 7-5 versus 2 and whatever.
They're looking at the ability for the Steelers to score and the ability for the Patriots to let teams not score. And so as I think about how, if I was looking at the scoring the Steelers have done, it just, to me, it feels like a field goal is going to win the game.
Yeah.
And in a very low scoring game, right? Something not probably under 10 points. So are we talking like 6-9, maybe 7-3, or God, maybe they get a safety, 7-5. So it just felt like something under 10 points and something within a field goal. I mean, the Steelers have demonstrated they've been they're probably the worst offensive team, the worst offensive playoff team. Them or the Browns. And the Patriots have what appears to be a lights out defense. So this felt right to me, more that the Steelers wouldn't be able to generate enough cushion to justify a line like this. It's like, 7 makes sense, 7, 8, 9. Like even against the Bears, I probably would have put this line at 7 or 8.
But yeah, I don't know this. So last week I said oh, the Lions are gonna win but not cover against the Saints. I think the line was like 4. Well, they won by 5, I
Yeah.
think, and the Saints sort of had a chance to cover that, but obviously they didn't. But it was close.
Well, their quarterback went out too.
Right.
Carr had a concussion.
Yeah, Carr, he's been like hurt where he can't finish the game, but he plays the next week like
Yeah.
2 or 3 times. I think he's out now.
Yeah, well, is this his second concussion this season?
I don't know. He keeps injuring like his back and his shoulder.
Okay.
I can't keep it all straight. There's been so many injuries. It's like, I don't know. But so I'm gonna say the same sort of thing here. Like I think the Patriots will keep it close. I
Mhm.
just don't know how they win this game. Like
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi's gonna have to like have a drive against that defense and like win the game in the fourth quarter. I just don't see that happening.
The same
But
thing is like Mitch Trubisky. It's like
exactly,
he's terrible.
I wouldn't be surprised, I guess,
He's
either
terrible.
because it's not a terrible like I think the Patriots are going to be able to run the ball, but Stevenson's out, so it's going to be like Ezekiel Elliott will be handling almost all of the workload. I don't know. They're going to have their screen game and their running game is going to have to be pretty good. Yeah, I mean,
It just feels
maybe
like
you
the
just
boringest game.
like I said, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I was talking about how these
Yeah.
teams should just like run the ball. Like if you're going to give up 6 points and 10 points a week, like just run the ball all day. The defense is going to get tired by the fourth quarter.
Either that or they're just going to go 3 and out, and then the defense isn't going to spend any
Yeah.
time on the field. This is just such a. I know you can't probably flex a Thursday game given the disparity in the preparation, but God, what an awful matchup
I know.
at this point in the season. Just awful.
Yeah, it's bad. So let's maybe just not spend any more time on it. I think the Steelers win a close game. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, it should be low scoring. Who really knows? So let's I get that one. Let's move on. We got the Texans at the Jets. I have Texans by 4.5.
I got Texans by 5.5.
So this is an interesting one because it opened higher than your guess, and I think it finished lower than mine.
Did it really?
Yeah, it moved a lot.
Yes, it did. So it's at 6, and now it's at 3.5 across the board. Wow.
Opened at 6 and it came down to 3.5.
Yeah.
That okay, so we'll
Crazy.
talk about that.
I don't understand. The Jets quarterback doesn't even want to play the game. He doesn't want to play.
None of them do.
No, Rodgers had to call him and say, "Get your ass on the field." But he did it real politely and supportive, like.
Yeah, they cut to Rodgers talking to Zach Wilson, and I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but like he like said a joke when they were losing in the fourth quarter or third quarter maybe, and Wilson like laughed, and everyone's trying to figure out like you're trying to read his lips, like what was he saying, like what was so funny when they were losing, whatever.
No, it came out like somebody leaked that Wilson doesn't want to play anymore. Like he doesn't want to start for the team, and for whatever reason, and so then then somebody else leaked that Rodgers called him to encourage him to play, and then now Rodgers has come out and said the Jets must find the leakers, and they must be punished.
So he doesn't. So Wilson doesn't want to play for anyone or just the Jets.
He doesn't want to start again for the Jets. Is what I heard.
Well, they don't want him to start again either.
I think Saleh named him as the starter
When?
this past weekend, didn't they?
Well, Boyle played.
I think, yeah, but he's supposed to start this weekend or this week.
Really?
That's like, yeah,
No,
that's
Simeon. I thought Simeon was going to start this week.
I guess.
Whatever.
I don't know.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. That is the rumors though.
So
right now,
you should try to find who's starting for the Jets, and then I'll talk about this a little bit. So Tank Dell, one of the speedster receiver for the Texans, is out for the year. So I think that news should have been out right away though. Like they knew he was done. Maybe not when the line opened. Anyway, he's obviously makes a difference. He's a very good receiver. So he's out. Dalton Schultz is their tight end. He didn't play last week. There's a chance he plays this week. I think that's part of it. And then I don't know. I'm surprised Trevor Siemian wasn't ahead of Zach Wilson to begin with, based on just what he's done in the like. I feel like he's done a little more in the league. He was serviceable for the Broncos for a few games, or maybe he was worse than I remember, because obviously you only remember what you know looked at the time. But maybe it's like, oh yeah, Trevor Siemian can complete a pass and like run an offense better than any other quarterbacks. So maybe this makes sense. But
The team hated Zach Wilson last year too. They hated him.
yeah,
It was weird that he was even back on the roster this season. It made no sense. There was so much friction between him and the rest of the organization.
yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. It just seems like he doesn't want to be like, just doesn't want to play the
Nope.
game. And it's
Nope.
like, okay, well, there's a lot of people who are probably as good as you that really do want to play. So take a hike, buddy.
So two days ago, NFL.com reported that Saleh hadn't named a starter. And then 16 hours ago, CBS Sports reported that Zach Wilson is starting in week.
Huh. Okay. Well, Zach Wilson, I don't know. Maybe Zach Wilson is worth a point over Boyle, and maybe Tank Dell is worth a point for being out, and that's why this line came down. Whatever. It's less than a touchdown. It's more than a field goal. I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, broken record, the Jets defense can keep you in a game, especially
Yes.
a little more so at home. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion. The Texans, they held on to beat the Broncos, so they're 7-5, but I think they're technically out right now. So
They are. They're the last team out. They're the eight. They're 8 right now.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think like
They
I
need
think the
this game.
Texans win this game. I just don't know if it's going to be by 3 or 4 or more. So no strong opinion.
It's weird to me though that the line went down. I just feel like, and I know the Jets have had some weird wins this year. I mean, they beat the Eagles. They're the first ones to beat the Eagles. They've had some other kind of odd victories. The Bills, but CJ Stroud has looked really good. I know they just lost, but he looks a really good quarterback. The line falling this far makes no sense, especially again. Yeah, Wilson didn't want to play. Zach Wilson reluctant to play. Aaron Rodgers plays him, calls out reporters. It's a mess over there. It's just a mess.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Take the Texans.
You've got one less receiver to throw to, and maybe your tight end's out against a good pass defense. I mean, that's got to be part of it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Nope.
We got a decent game. I'm guessing this is a noon game on. I think we have 2 Monday night games this week. I saw,
We do. At the same time, I think.
but Monday night is after Sunday at noon, so we're gonna do this Sunday noon game first. And yeah, they are at the same time, 6:15.
Yeah.
I'm
mhm,
scattered.
7:15,
I'm scatterbrained right
7:15.
now.
Yeah, I think they're both, which is odd, but okay.
So we got the
Ravens.
Rams at the Ravens.
Bad week this week.
Are you going to the mall today? Okay,
I've
I
got
have.
5,
You've got Ravens by 5. I have
Ravens
Ravens
5.
by 7.5.
7.
Opened at 7.5 and it went down to 7. All right, so I get that one.
This one's weird too.
I mean, I was off by a half a point. I thought they would give the Ravens a little more love at home off a bye week, because I mean, they've been one of the more consistent teams in the NFL. I mean, they're the only team with 9 wins in the AFC. Is that correct?
No, because the Jags are the 1 seed right now. I think the Jags have 9
They
wins
just
too.
lost to the Bengals.
Who's the one? Maybe they are the 1 seed. Oh no, it's the Dolphins are in the lead with 9 victories.
Oh, 9-3, 9-3. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, so the Dolphins must have the tiebreaker for the 1 seed. That's interesting.
Whatever the tiebreaker is. Is it conference record? Dolphins are 6-2 in conference. The Ravens are 6-3.
The first tiebreaker is head to head, which quite a few teams don't even play each other.
Yeah.
And then it's your division record.
Is it really? Oh, the Ravens have 1 more division loss.
Yeah. So I did not think the Dolphins were the 1 seed, but I guess it makes sense. So you got the Rams, who are 6-6, and they are
outside looking in.
Yeah, they're just out right now. So
yeah, just behind the Packers.
I mean, they need this win, but it's a tough game on the road, and you're going to see the same thing in a little bit Seahawks Niners is the same situation. It's like you're playing one of the best teams in the NFL on the road, and you really need a win to kind of stay in the mix. And I think this week matters. Well, every subsequent week matters more, I guess I would say, but 6-6, right? So you want to stay above 500. And if the Rams and Seahawks lose this week, you're 6-7. And so then you got to go probably at least 3-1, if not 4-0 to make it. If you
Yeah.
win this week, then you can go maybe 2-2, or you possibly have to go 3-1, but probably not in the NFC. So it changes a lot,
Yep.
like what you need to do to get in. So Rams at the Ravens, I don't know. These are always tough. It's like, yeah, the Rams need it, but the Ravens are playing for, I would say, just as much. Like they want the
Bye
bye.
week. Yeah.
So it's not like, like there's any lack of motivation on either side. I'm starting to buy into the Rams. Like I think they're healthy now
Offense
and
looks good.
they're playing better. They might have a field goal kicker who can actually make an extra point in a field goal. I think they signed Mason Crosby and they're gonna promote him if he
Yeah. Okay.
checks out. So I think Rams +7 sounds right. I don't love it, but that's the way I would
Ravens
go
plus
on
7.
that.
Yeah.
No, Rams.
Oh,
Plus.
+7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ravens giving 7. Yeah.
Uh,
So would you take the Rams and the points then in this?
yeah,
Would you?
but I don't. Like I said, I don't love it.
Okay. So that's from a betting standpoint. From an outright like victory standpoint, you think the Rams will win, or no, Ravens, but the Rams cover?
I mean, a 7-point dog is a pretty big dog in the NFL,
Yeah.
but for being that, yeah, I mean, I think they have a chance to win. Like,
Yeah.
I think
They've been
I don't know.
surprising this year, and they've
But-
got a lot of offense.
But then, like on the other side, like I always try to think of it both ways. Ravens are off a bye. They only have 3 losses. Like they're just very consistent
Their
on
team.
offense and defense. Like it's tough to,
Well coached.
like, you're not going to
Mm-mm.
beat them by 14, I don't think. Like it's going to have to be a close game. I don't know. Can the Rams protect Stafford enough? He seems like he gets hurt. Well, everyone gets hurt every game, it seems like, our quarterbacks at least. I don't know. But that's my take on the Rams Ravens. It's good to get a decent game in there every once in a while versus these turd burgers who have their third string quarterback in and
Speaking of
don't want to play. Yeah. Okay.
Panthers Saints.
So the Panthers are the first team officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Jeez, only one
Um,
victory. That's weird.
So the Panthers play at the Saints. The Saints are a hot mess too, and they are, I guess, obviously must still be in contention for the
Hmm.
division, winning the division. What are they?
They are
6,
5
7?
and 5 and 7, but still right there for the division.
So the Falcons are 6-6, or what are
Mhm.
they?
6, yeah.
That division's bad, but
Bad.
so you got Panthers at the Saints. I got Saints by 5.5.
I've got the Saints by 7.
I think I got this right on. I've been really close on these. I promise I'm gonna miss a couple pretty bad, at least one really bad. It opened at 6.
5.
Yeah, it went down to 5. So
I don't know. So these sides don't make any sense because
So
the
I'll-
Panthers are bad.
I'll explain this one. Okay,
Bad.
so last week I said, well, I forget exactly what I said, but it was Panthers at the Bucks, and the line. I'll just pull it. Panthers at the Bucks. It was Bucks by 5.5, and I think I remember saying like, everyone's going to be saying, yeah, the Bucks can win by that much. I mean, the Panthers have 1 win, but I think the Panthers is the right side. Well, they kind of backdoor covered it, but I mean, it was how did that go?
21-18.
They scored a touchdown to go down 5. So I guess they were already covering at that point. And then they went for 2 to cut it to 3. And then I think they got the ball back and they had a chance to have a drive to either
Mhm.
tie it or win it, and they threw a pick. But yeah, I mean, like I've said this 100 times, like your coach gets fired, the team seems to play better that first week,
Uh,
and that's what happened. They didn't do enough to win, but they were close, and yeah, I mean that's kind of what happened there. So you basically have the same situation here. I mean, the Saints and the Bucks are kind of equivalent in a way. It's another division game. You got the Panthers who are probably still playing hard. You got the Saints who Jameis Winston's going to play quarterback because, like we said, Carr got hurt. And it's just, I don't know. It's a very fair line between a field goal and a touchdown.
Do you think the line is higher if Carr is starting, or you think it's the same?
Anymore, I don't think it's much different, to be honest. with
Really?
you.
So what? The Rams are a way better team than the Panthers. The Ravens are a better team than the Saints. But the Saints are a far better team than the Panthers. And the line is smaller versus Panthers versus Saints than Rams versus, that makes no sense to me. The gap between the Rams and the Ravens is smaller than the gap between the Panthers and the Saints.
Are the Saints that much better than the Panthers? I mean, they're 5-7. Like they're in a not very good division. Like they're just
I feel like yes. I feel like just what is on the field is better. Like the talent is better. Maybe it's not being harnessed. And maybe the execution isn't that much. It just on paper, this was just weird to me. Like just the disparity between these two teams seems greater. And maybe it's just the Panthers record 1-10 that is throwing me. But yeah, I don't know. And I know they played the Bucks last week and they almost covered. I don't remember what the line was, but the Bucks are kind of a bit worse than the Saints. I don't know. This is weird. These two lines are weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah, we just talked about that. So yeah, they did cover and it seemed weird. And this seems like a similar situation, but I don't know. Maybe the Saints there's so Michael Thomas, I don't think was playing, but he was like tweeting during the game about like
He's on IR, right?
I'm not sure if he's on IR or not, but he's like saying stuff about like indirectly about Carr and Jameis Winston, and I think he's lobbying for Jameis Winston, although I didn't look at it that close. And it was just weird. And then he like deactivated his account, and it's like, what is going on? At any rate, they're a hot mess. And I don't know how you really trust the Saints from week to week. I feel like the Panthers are gonna play hard the rest of the year. I don't know. I mean, if you have to, like, just maybe the Panthers are gonna keep it close. And maybe Jameis is going to try to force some balls and throw 3 picks. I don't know.
Have the Panthers covered a lot this year?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Maybe
that's some of
they've been blown out a decent amount. I don't know. I'd have to look back at that, but all right.
Okay, next game.
Let's go. Bad game. Let's get rid of it. This next one's like kind of like
game.
A goofy, decent game.
Yeah. Well, especially since the Bengals won.
We should create new categories for games. Like
really
bad game, dumpster fire, kind of sneaky, decent game, pretty good game, and then like great game. I think this should be our category.
Okay, that works. Wow.
So we got the
Bengals are 0-4 in the division.
Is that good?
No, because if that's the tiebreaker,
right, they need to win a lot.
I mean, I feel like it's almost impossible for them.
So the Bengals, they host the Colts this week, and I guess that the Bengals would be favored by 3. What do you got?
I think I have the Colts favored by 1.5.
Okay, so we're a little different on that. It opened at Colts by 1.
Another one all over the map.
Yeah, I mean a pick'em is very clearly, I guess
there's 2 ones. Are these 0? So is that a pick'em then? Pick'em. Yeah.
So the Colts, I mean the Colts are favored a couple places, Bengals are favored a couple places, and then one place has a pick'em. So we'll just call it a pick'em. Josh gets that either way. So I'm up 4-1.
Woo! On the board.
So it opened at 1 for the Colts, and then Jake Browning had a very good game against the Jaguars, and I think that was why this went to a pick'em. But I mean, pick your backup quarterback.
Oh my God, it's the backup quarterback bowl.
Well, there's like 5 of them this week. pick your backup quarterback and your middling team that is still playing hard. I don't know. I really, so my son's a Bengals fan, so I like going for the Bengals, but it just seems like, okay, Jake Browning had like 370 yards passing and like a couple touchdowns and just played great.
Hmm.
And honestly, it was a great game plan. They came out throwing a bunch of short passes, making the Jags think that they were just gonna dink and dump it like that all game. And then they just opened it completely up. Like he's
Hmm.
throwing the ball downfield to Chase, and it was just, I felt like it was a great game plan and just well
Yeah.
executed. And I mean, they beat the Jags on the road with Jake Browning as their quarterback. So
Zach Taylor, good coach.
yeah,
Maybe a good coach.
he coached at Nebraska, or
Oh,
did he
was it-
play at Nebraska? I don't know.
I don't know. He's from the McVay coaching tree, though. I think the Sean McVay.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
he's done a nice job there.
Yeah, they needed that win and they got it, and now they're, I think, 6-6.
They're fourth though. I think they're
So-
the 10th seed or whatever.
So Browning saw a little bit of success. Like that was a huge win for
Yeah.
them. I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit here. So I mean, I kind of get why it's a pick 'em, even
Yeah.
though the Bengals are at home and these teams seem fairly equal. So
And Minshew Mania.
I hate to say it, but I think the Colts is probably the right side. They just seem like they're winning close games. Like they went to overtime with the Titans on the road, and Titans kick a field goal, and then the Colts go down and score a touchdown in overtime to win. So, like I said, I don't have a real strong opinion on that one, but apparently that's every game this week. But what do you do when with these teams that have shown not much consistency?
I think that there's just too much unknown right now. Like you don't know what this quarterback is going to be for the Bengals. He had a great game. He brought him a victory. Never heard his name before. And so now how do you maybe he's better than Joe Burrow? Probably not, but or as good as, and then it just changes the calculus. And the Colts are, I don't know, man. Once their starting quarterback went down, it was like, okay, so their season's over, pack it in, it's fine. And then all of a sudden they keep winning and 7-5. If they make the playoffs, is Minshew a starter in the league next year? Provided he's contractually able to do that.
I mean, I think he deserves that shot, but I don't know. Like you're gonna have to find a team that wants to go there because his ceiling is probably not super high. So
probably looking at it right now, right?
Yeah.
Like this is as good as it gets with Minshew.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It depends. But
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, I think he deserves that. What else was I gonna say? I don't know. We'll save
a
it
good
for
game.
later.
Could be a
Yeah,
good
I
game
mean,
to
it
watch.
should be. It's
Yeah, if you can watch it.
it's a pick 'em, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair, and it could be a
Exciting.
good game. Oh yeah, Jake Browning. So he has the record for most touchdowns as a high schooler, I think. Through
In the country?
he threw like
Oh.
200 and I don't know,
Okay.
37 touchdown passes in his high school career or something like that. And then he was a really good quarterback for Washington, and I don't know, he just kind of, I don't know that he's really had his shot in the NFL, but we'll see. Like, I mean, these quarterbacks can come in when there's not much tape on them and they can have a good game, and then it just depends, like, are they going to continue that, or are they going to be figured out? Because some of these defensive coordinators can figure these guys out. Like they can be good with a certain game plan, but then you see what they're starting to do and you can figure them out. I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm.
I don't know which way it's going to go. Anyway, let's go to the Buccaneers at the
Falcons.
Falcons. I have the Falcons by 3.5.
So do I.
We're going to tie. We're going to tie.
And it is not that thing.
It is Falcon. It was
By
2.5 and it went down to 1. Falcons by 1. All right, this is probably my pick of the week. I don't know how you really trust the Bucks that much, but the line to me doesn't make sense. Vegas likes the Bucks.
They had a commanding victory against the Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, commanding.
So the
Total
Bucks
domination.
are what, 5-7?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, I mean, the Bucks need to they could probably only lose one more game. So the Falcons, who did the Falcons just beat? The Saints, right?
Hmm.
Or wait, is that right?
No, they beat the Saints to take the division lead 2 weeks ago.
Who did they beat last week?
No idea. Let's find out.
Oh, the Jets.
Yes.
The Jets refused to score, and the Falcons had
13 to
score.
8.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jets were ahead 2-0 in that game for a while.
That's right. Yes, they had that safety right at the yeah. Yeah. So it was like at 5. Yes, and then they scored a field goal. It was like they were, I think, winning by 5-0 or something because they had the safety and a field goal, and then they kicked another field goal to bring it to 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, this may be not the best game to watch. Perhaps could
Yeah.
be a little stolid.
So it seems like the Falcons maybe are a little bit better team, which is why I went Falcons 3.5.
Yeah.
It is lower than that. They're only favored by a point. I think the Bucks are going to win this game.
Outright? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's only 1 point,
That's
so if
true.
you're picking them, you're basically
That's
picking
true.
them to win, unless
That's
you
fair.
think it's going to be a tie.
I mean, those happen now.
That's true. Well, there hasn't been one this
Not
year.
this year, but
This week there's going to be one.
Oh my goodness! Put some money on that, right? That's your prop bet.
So there you go, Bucks. I don't know what else do we have to say about this. Both of these teams won last week. They obviously are trying to make the playoffs. They're kind of, well, the Falcons are winning the division, but
I mean, all these teams, Saints, Falcons, and Bucks, they all could win the division with this many games left. The only one who's really out is the Panthers.
yeah, just think if the Panthers could have won like 2 more games,
They would win this race for as much good as it will do them.
Okay, let's move on. We tie that one. Now we have the battle of the backups.
Yeah.
Maybe the Jags at the Browns. I have the Browns by 3.
Oh, I have the Jags by 3. I did this before the Monday night game. I have Jags by 3.
Okay, so I think Josh gets a mulligan on that one because obviously this line is showing that
Yes.
Lawrence is going to be out,
Yes.
which we'll talk about that in a second. Anyway,
Did these Monday morning. I should learn.
so this isn't even showing an opening line, which tells you that they were obviously tentative about the injury.
Yep.
But it is
3, almost
Browns by 3, and a couple places have it 3.5. So I get that right on. Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence hurt his ankle to the point where he couldn't even really walk off the field. They're saying he's
sprain, right? Or high ankle sprain.
Probably. They're saying he's not ruled out for this week, which seems crazy, but you see it all the time where guys seem like they're dead and then they play the next week. So, but all signs point to Lawrence isn't going to play. So CJ Beathard is going to play. So you got Beathard versus Flacco.
Mr. Beathard.
Beathard.
That's how his name is spelled.
I know. I'm a spelling guy. So I do know.
Sorry, I'm a juvenile.
Ugh. Okay. Beathard or Beathard versus Joe Flacco, who Joe Flacco was on the streets a couple weeks ago.
Looks so good, so poised.
And he played decent. He had like 2 touchdowns and 1 pick with like 225 yards passing at the Rams. I mean,
yeah, given where he was, like you said, on the street, that's
like if you send me in there with Aaron Donald breathing down my neck, I'm probably gonna not complete many passes.
Yeah.
But okay, so I got this one right on. I basically said, okay, you got 2 teams with good defenses who are pretty solid all around, but don't have the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just like Browns 3, the home team by 3. I didn't
Makes
put
sense.
much more into it than that, and that's what it is. I don't know. Like, do you think so? The whole Jake Browning thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Beathard can have a good game? What, like without much tape? Like he hasn't started a game probably for a couple of years. Didn't he used to be a backup for like the Niners or something?
He's been around forever, I feel like.
Came out of Iowa, maybe. I could be wrong on that, but it sounds right.
Iowa.
Originally, that was his college that he went to, where he went to class, got good grades, and played for the football team. So can he have a good game without much tape on him recently, or do the Browns just like take care of business at home? I think the Browns are going to take care of business just because like going on the road in your first start in a long time against a very good defense, I feel like is a tough thing to do. Although that's basically what Browning just did. But a lot of people would say the Browns are a better defense than the Jaguars anyway. So I don't know. I think the Browns are going to win this game at home. The Browns are what?
So the Browns are 7-5. All of the AFC wildcards are 7-5 right now.
Oh yeah, obviously the Ravens are winning that division. Okay, so this I mean, the Jags are.
They're 8-4. So this puts it in like if the Colts win and the Jags lose, they're tied. Their records are tied.
Same with Texans, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that division is going to be really interesting coming down the stretch here because there's 3 teams potentially that could win it. That was a huge loss for the Jags
Yeah, it
against the
was.
Bengals, like a huge loss just in terms of position. So this will gonna be fascinating.
Yeah, and
Fascinating.
the Jags. So the Jags lose Lawrence at least. Well, most likely for this
Worst
week.
time.
Christian Kirk messed up his groin. Like that looks like a multi-week injury, and
Mhm.
he was turning into their best receiver, even though Ridley was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So they got some issues going on there. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, they were looking at, oh yeah, we're going to be the one, maybe the 1 seed in the AFC to, we're going to make the playoffs.
Excuse
So
me.
we'll see.
They're still a playoff team, but maybe they won't win the division. That's
Yeah,
strange. I mean, I guess there are enough games for them not to make the playoffs, right? Given how competitive the AFC around, at the wild card spot is.
right.
Could be very interesting.
Yeah, it's all going to. I mean, I don't know if 9-8 or 10-7 is going to be the last spot.
That's the question.
Right.
That's the question. Historically, 9-8 feels right, but
You could look at who these teams have left to play. That would be a
Yeah.
huge determinant. Because like if
yep.
the teams around the bubble here don't have tough schedules, then 10-7 is probably going to be the mark. But anyway,
Yep.
we can talk about that all day and not really get anywhere. So too many games left.
Yep.
5 games left,
Let's roll.
and 5 games left for every team. Let's go on to the next game. We got the Lions at the Bears. Whoa.
Ouch.
I have the Lions by 2.5.
The Lions by 5.5.
It's in between.
It's 3.5.
It opened at 4.5.
3.
It's
3.
3. So it came down to 3. I get that one.
Mm.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I think it was, or no, 3 weeks ago, Lions played the Bears in Detroit. Bears were up 2 scores and blew it.
Mhm.
So Lions win. But that was that Bajent still?
No, that was Fields.
Fields was-
Fields
oh, yeah,
looked
Fields was
excellent in
back.
that game. He looked excellent.
So the Bears basically had the game and blew it. So now you
Second
got
time this season.
you got the rematch in Chicago.
Yeah.
So the Bears are obviously playing a lot better. Fields is back. Their defense is healthy and playing
Looking
really
really
well.
really well.
I
Really well.
don't. I'm like, part of me says, well, even if they have a lead, are they going to blow it again? Like, are they going to have the monkey on their back and just be like, just
Yeah.
get nervous and lose it? And part of me says they had them once. They're at home. They're going to make a statement. And they're going to win this game. I'm a little bit torn. I think you just take the Bears and the points at home because of how well they played against them recently. And the Lions, I don't know that they're completely fixed yet.
Their secondary sucks.
I mean, they should have lost to the Bears, then they lost to the Packers, then they did beat the Saints by 5, and they were ahead most of the game.
But the Saints came back on them too, though. That was the thing. Like they made that game very interesting coming down the stretch.
Right. So, yeah,
you can pass on this Lions team, and I think that's their Achilles heel. They look really good, really sharp, but their games are always going to be track meets. It feels like where the other team is always going to be in it if they can just pass the ball.
Yeah.
So this feels like a decent line. I just my faith in the Bears is non-existent. So that's why I went a little higher on this line. But
and then like this is wild, and no, the Bears aren't going to make the playoffs, but they have 8 losses right now. So the locker room, it's got to be, let's win out. Let's go 1-0 every week, and if
go 9-8, it's possible.
Let's see what happens.
They've got a very difficult schedule, though, or a more difficult schedule than most, I think, the Bears.
Yeah, but it just like if the season started right now, the way the Bears are playing, I think
that's certainly how the coaching staff is positioning it. Hey, we're 4-4, guys. Yeah, we're 4-4.
I mean, they're at least a middle to
that
middle team in the
certainly
NFC.
Looks that way. You've got the defense that looks like it is at least a middle of the pack defense, right? If not a top 10 defense, and they're at least top 10 in one category, the rushing defense. If Fields could be even half of what, that's a team. Yeah. That is a competitive NFL team. I don't know, but I don't want that coach. I think really honestly, the staff that is hindering them, and it's about how they prepare and how they call plays. Those guys got to go.
Yeah, and this also seems like a spot where Fields has played better, and then he kind of takes a step back too. So
There's a lot of hesitancy still in his game. I feel like.
I'm waffling a little bit.
I mean, I feel like this is a coin flip, right? Because the Bears have shown that they can be competitive in games. They just have also shown that they are really dumb at times and can't close the deal. So
Right. So are the Bears going to continue playing well, keep this close, maybe win, or
Maybe.
are the Lions are the Lions back to what they were to start the year? Kind of like the 49ers had that
Yeah.
little dip and now
And
they're
then they
playing a
come
lot
back.
better. I don't know. Those are the two, I don't know if you call them storylines, but kind of
Yeah.
ways of thinking about it.
This could be a good game to watch, though. I mean, this could be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
offense,
I mean,
probably. Potentially.
3-point spread could be competitive.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yes. All right. This one, maybe not so much.
Seahawks at the 49ers. I have the Niners by 9.5.
7 by 7.5.
It's higher than mine even.
It's 10.5.
It opened at 12.5. I
Yeah.
did not know that. It came down to 10.5.
across the board. Woot. This makes sense. The Niners looked amazing.
So I get that one. Okay. So the Seahawks need this game. We were talking about that. So
Yeah.
like the Seahawks at the Niners and the Rams at the Ravens, the Rams and the Seahawks need this game. Like it's not a must win, obviously, because you know, if they lose, they have 7 losses. And so they could still win out and make the playoffs. But you have to be thinking of it as a must win game.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'll say. So the 49ers killed the Eagles. Obviously they brought the juice and they just like played really well. And like I said before, last week, I said there's going to be penalties. There might be some fights.
Mm-hmm.
And there was scrums. I think there was a scrum before the game a little bit. There was one sort of during the game. Then there was another one where Greenlaw got ejected because he touched the face of a staffer for the Eagles.
Oh, he punched that guy.
Talking smack.
He punched him.
Oh, he tried to, but he just like barely.
Yeah, he did. He went like this, but yeah, man, that was a punch.
So I'm interested to see if the Niners will respond in this game.
Mm.
Like I don't know if this. I mean, it's a 10.5 point spread. So like, I'm not gonna say the Seahawks are gonna win. I think they're gonna come out. I think this game is gonna be close at halftime.
Mm.
Just because I think the 49ers will be a little, I don't know, lethargic coming off that big win on the road. And then we'll see what happens. Like, think about last week. So Thursday, Seahawks play the Cowboys. They had that game. Like, they're up by 5 with the ball at midfield in the 4th quarter, and they went for it on like 4th and 1 and got stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Cowboys went down and scored, got the 2-point, I think. And then the Seahawks got it back to midfield, 4th and 1 or 2, and got stopped again. And it was just like, it felt like they were going to win that game. And I was like, no, Cowboys come down, score, and then they win. So, and that was, what was the spread on that one? That was Cowboys by 9,
Mm-hmm.
and they almost had it. So this is kind of a similar feel, division game. I mean, the Niners are nasty, which is why that line's so high, but like, it just seems, I don't know. It seems like a tough spot for the Niners.
Are they the favorites to win the Super Bowl? Odds-wise
I'm
right
pretty
now?
sure.
I mean, they just kicked the Eagles' ass. Like after I think the first, was it 2 or 3 drives, they really looked kind of poor. Then they just put the game away. Like after that, they just did not look back. They looked pretty great. The Eagles have looked a little suspect. I mean, I don't know, for weeks. So this felt like inevitable, but the Niners, I felt, came out and showed that they were the class. So this line makes total sense. The Seahawks, I mean, the Seahawks were competitive. I feel like they're still a playoff team, but they may cover this, but I don't think they're going to win. I don't think so.
The other thing is the Seahawks. So Metcalf had an oblique injury, which was pretty bad. So he's been out a couple of weeks, and then Charbonnet has an injury too, and there's a chance he could be out. So if their healthiest running back is DJ Dallas, and then I don't even know who the backup would be behind him. I mean, that plays a factor as well. Obviously, Kenneth Walker, I think, is one of the better running backs in the NFL. If you're putting DJ Dallas in there, that kind of takes away some of your firepower. That makes a difference for sure. Niners are healthy, so there you have it. Let's move on to the next one.
Vikings Raiders.
The Vikings off a bye are going on the road to face the Raiders. And I whiffed on this. I was way off.
Okay.
I have the Raiders by 4.
I have the Raiders by 1.5.
You get that one for sure, unless something crazy happened overnight. So Vikings opened 2.5, and it's up to 3. Vikings by 3. I don't understand this whatsoever.
I don't either.
So Raiders are 5-7. The Vikings are 6-6. I think the Raiders might have had a bye last week too.
I think they did.
So and then before that they got crushed by the Chiefs at home. Like I said, I do not understand this one bit. Aren't the Raiders and the Vikings kind of like essentially equivalent?
And the Raiders are 5-7.
They're middling teams. They're both been playing fairly decent over the last handful of games. It just seemed like the way the Vikings played in primetime against the Bears,
Dobbs looked very, very vulnerable.
I thought the Raiders would like even get a tick above the 3. I mean, 7 points. I haven't missed one by 7 points in a long time, but I don't know. I guess Vegas sees something in the Vikings here, and I don't get it.
I don't either. The coach coming out of that Vikings game against the Bears was like, I don't know, like Dobbs is going to start. There was some controversy, right, in terms of who was going to start because of the Dobbs performance. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, the Vikings are on the road. I know the Raiders launched their coach, but yeah, this is a weird one.
Yeah, but the Raiders had been playing good under Pierce.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost seems like I think I looked at this. Like I tried to find injuries or something to explain this, and I just couldn't. I hope Vegas is right, obviously, being a Vikings fan. But I don't understand it, and I don't know what to say.
And the Vikings certainly need this game. Because I feel like if they lose, there's too many teams behind them who, with a victory, leapfrog them in the standings.
Who do the Raiders play the rest of the way? Do they have like a really tough schedule where they're just like kind of throwing in the towel, like there's no way we're making the playoffs?
Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, I mean, that's not great. At least 3 of those teams are likely playoff teams. Colts, Broncos, Chiefs are potential playoff teams.
Yeah, so Raiders, they play the Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos. There's no way
they're not going like 3-1.
There's no way they're winning 3 of those games.
No, 2-2 feels maybe possible.
And they're gonna have to win 4 of those games to make the playoffs. So I don't know that they're really looking at it that way. I mean, I think you just try to win the game in front of you, but I don't know. That's part of it. I mean, and this is a huge, kind of like I said before, with these 6-6 teams, like the Vikings absolutely need this game.
Yeah. Because the Vikings are Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions.
Yeah.
Got the Lions twice still.
And the Packers are playing as good as anyone. So
yep.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings absolutely need this.
Yeah.
The Vikings don't usually fare well in a road game in this spot. Like in the last few years, I would say they usually have a turd performance, but we'll see.
New coach, new staff.
I hope Vegas is right. That's all I'm going to say about that one. All right, I'm up 7-2. Josh, if he runs the table, we tie.
Well, that's not going to happen. I always know that's not going to happen. I have the Broncos here by 1.5.
Okay.
Chargers, Broncos.
Broncos at the Chargers. I went Chargers by 1. You have Broncos by 1.5. I want to say it's Chargers by 3.
It is. There's a 2.5, 2.5, and a 1.5. It's 2.5.
Opened at 3. Yeah, 2.5 is the most consistent one.
Yeah.
Chargers 2.5. It's a tough week. Like a lot of these, I don't know what to think about it. So the Broncos last week at the Texans.
Very close to winning.
what was, let me see, I'm just going back real quick. So it was Texans by 3.5, and I remember saying, usually I would say take the Texans because they're getting that extra half point. And there's got to be something there. And then I was like, I'm gonna go against that theory, which is never good. If I ever say I'm gonna go against like what I think a normal good train of thought is, it's just gonna be wrong. So that being said, the Broncos did have the ball at the 8-yard line, first and goal,
Turned it over.
and they would have covered if they just score there. And they had like 20 or 30 seconds. So they had enough time to run 4 plays, and Wilson chucked it up on 3rd and goal, and it got intercepted. Anyway, this is I don't know. It's sort of a similar spot.
Division game.
But the Chargers are obviously not as good as the Texans.
Mm-mm.
So you got the Broncos on the road. The Chargers are what? 5 and
They're not good. They're
5
middling.
and 7.
Yeah.
You got the Chargers favored by 2.5. I don't.
This
What are you
feels-
gonna get out of these
yeah,
teams?
No, the Broncos put together a 5-game winning streak where they looked legitimate, and Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson from 4 or 5 years ago. So that's the secondary conversation. Is like, what did Seattle let go? I know they're doing well with Geno, but like there was clearly something left in Russell Wilson. He wasn't washed. So I don't know. This is a weird one. The Broncos need this game to keep pace. I don't know what the Chargers are playing for right now, except for Staley's job.
Right.
This could be a good game because the teams could be exciting, but I don't know. I feel like I mean, obviously, I'm leaning Broncos here.
So I tend to trust Herbert like when you need a game-winning drive, but I trust Sean Payton way more than
Oh yeah,
Staley.
very good coach.
So it's kind of I don't know what you do with this game. I think maybe the Broncos win and Staley gets fired. There you go. Parlay that.
I mean, I certainly think that's where this is trending.
Although I think he gets till the end of the year. I think
Yeah.
maybe someone said that. So he coached at NIU, I think.
Did he?
Right here in DeKalb.
Really?
He was like an assistant, like a grad assistant or
Okay.
something like that.
So did
And
his Corso.
Really?
He was the head coach for 1 year in the 70s.
100 years ago.
In the 1975, he coached here for 1 year. Anyway.
So like when Staley was here, he was dating someone on the volleyball team, and like now they're married. So his wife is from Sycamore, which is where we live. Apparently.
That's
what I
cool.
heard.
Neat. Good for
Yeah.
him. He's still probably getting
So
fired.
yeah, true. So they can count their millions on the couch next year.
Hey,
Well,
come back and coach NIU. We need a new coach.
no, they're gonna keep him.
You think so?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
They've
I'm not gonna
been
go
great
there.
this year. I don't know
They
how long
made a
it's been
bowl.
there. Did they? They won some. Well, I don't pay attention to college football, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, off topic.
Yeah, sorry.
So I get that one. I'm gonna win the week. We got 4
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
Let's get through them.
Bills Chiefs.
Whoa, we got a good game.
Yes.
Might be the best game of the week. Bills at Chiefs. I have Chiefs by 5.5.
I haven't given 4.5.
You're gonna get that.
Neat.
It's like 1 or 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally good line. Yeah, 1.5 across the board. It's gonna be a good game.
1.5. Chiefs by 1.5. It opened at 2.5. So
Good game.
yeah,
Exciting.
Chiefs are just like kind of broken, is what this says.
Yeah, everybody thinks that, and they've. I mean, they're looking at the receivers.
So the Bills should have beaten the Eagles in Philadelphia, and then they went on by. The Bills are the Bills 6-6?
They are. They're the 11th seed though. They're behind the Texans, Broncos, Bengals.
So the Bills absolutely need this game, but the
Need it.
Chiefs,
They also need
I
this
mean,
game, man.
yeah, like they're just not playing that well. Like
They're the
they
3 seed right now.
well, there's never going to be a lack of motivation between the Bills and the Chiefs after the couple of thrillers that they had against each other. I mean, this should be a really good game. I guess Chiefs by 5.5. I still feel like they're the better team.
Yes.
Vegas is saying 1.5. That just screams take the Bills here,
Yeah.
which seems a little weird because it's like, okay, the Chiefs need one sort of in a way. they're at home. Like it's still Mahomes. Like, is Mahomes gonna lose this game at home? I mean,
It's looking really bad for the Chiefs
don't
if they
know.
do. So if they lose, the Broncos win. The Broncos are one game away from the division.
yeah, but I don't know. Something just tells me I think the Bills are gonna win this game, or I don't know. I guess they could lose by 1 and still cover that. But
If the Bills need it, man. I mean, they're going to
Yeah.
need it more than the Chiefs because I think the Chiefs probably aren't going to lose their division. But man, this is not a good place for the Chiefs to be in.
it's a good game. That's probably
Great
a
scheduling. Great matchup.
afternoon game on Sunday, I would
Yeah.
guess.
Yep.
All right, let's go on to the Eagles at the Cowboys. Another good one.
Man.
We are planning on watching this game
Yes. How could you
together
not.
and live casting.
Let's do it.
You've heard of the Manning cast? Well, I don't know what we're gonna call this one, but we're not actually gonna do that. Anyway, I have the Cowboys by 3.
By 3.5.
I think it opened at 3.5 and it moved.
It's 3.5 across the board.
Yeah. Cowboys 3.5.
Nailed it.
Okay, take the mic. You nailed it.
I mean, it's the standard home 3 points plus half a point. And I think the half a point is because the Eagles have looked vulnerable past few weeks, so they've always pulled it out. And then the Niners came in and punched them in the face. And I think that's really interesting because the Niners also punched the Cowboys in the face, and the Cowboys lost to the Eagles earlier, but the Cowboys, they look good. Man, that offense looks dynamic. I mean, they've put up 40 at least twice this season. And in one of those instances, they blanked a team. So they're 9-3. I like
Yeah.
the Cowboys here.
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good analysis. The Dak Prescott's numbers are crazy. Like he's
so good.
I heard his name in the MVP conversation. I'm like, I must not be paying that close of attention because like I didn't think that was going to be a thing. But yeah, I mean, his numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
It just seems like he doesn't get hurried that much. Like his offensive line, I think, is really good, and that contributes. Obviously, that makes a big difference. But he's just playing really well, and I don't know. I guess I got to give him credit for playing well. I mean, they're putting up a ton of points,
They've
and
scored over 40 points 5 times.
Yeah.
5 times. And then they got close twice, or at least once more. They scored 38.
so I'm a little torn on this one. Like the Eagles do seem a little bit broken, or you said vulnerable. That's a better word. And the Cowboys lost at the Eagles. It was a close game.
It was a close game. That's right.
So now the Cowboys, if they win this, they're tied in the loss column. And there's a chance that, you need the 49ers to lose, but there's a chance you could get the bye. So the Cowboys at home, can't believe I'm saying this either. I feel like that's the right side too.
If the Cowboys win, they will be leading the division because their division records, Cowboys are 3-1 and the Eagles are 3-0. So that means if the Cowboys win, they'd be 4-1. The Eagles would be 3-1, and the 4-1 is a titanic shift in standings.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think the Cowboys is the right side. I also think like I don't know. It just seems like if it's a close game, like Sirianni and Hurts versus McCarthy and Prescott, like who's gonna pull this out if it's a close game? Now, granted, the way the Cowboys are playing, this very well could be not a close game. Like the Eagles' defense is
Very
vulnerable for
yes.
sure. So the Cowboys, I think, are a more complete team, but
Yeah.
can the Eagles keep it close and kind of pull one out like they seem like
That's the
they're
key,
yeah.
right? Like keeping it close in the first half. If the Cowboys go into halftime and they're up by 30, I don't see the Eagles coming back in the second half if they've been able to do so frequently.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I don't know.
it could be another fascinating game.
But those are two. Or wait, that's the Sunday night game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Bills Chiefs in the afternoon, then you got Eagles
Right.
Cowboys at night.
Cowboys, dude.
Yeah.
Great day of football.
And then, as we alluded to earlier, you got 2 Monday night games at the
Yes.
same time.
Chase.
First one is Packers at the Giants. I have the Packers by 4.5.
I haven't given 3.5.
think I get that. It's like 6 or something.
Yeah, makes sense. It is 6.5.
Packers 6.5.
That's fine. Giants suck. Packers seem to be decent.
So the Giants beat the Patriots and then had a bye or something like that. And they've been playing better.
Better.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they're 4-8.
So, I mean, the Packers seriously are like, this is annoying, but they're like the way they've played the last few weeks. So they beat the Chargers, then they beat the Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then they just beat the Chiefs. So like,
They've won 2 in a row.
who's playing better? I mean, the
Oh,
Niners are, but
The Giants have.
who's playing better than the Packers, like in the NFL? You could probably count like 2 or 3 teams max. So Packers at the Giants.
Packers, man.
So it's, I guess 4.5. So more than a field goal. It's less than a touchdown. It's actually 6.5. So the Packers, the one thing I'll say is they could have a little downer after beating the Chiefs at home. Obviously, that's a huge win for them. But every game is big because they need to go 3-2 or 4-1 probably to make the playoffs. So are they going to come out a little bit lethargic, or are they going to be ready to go? You got the Giants at home who have been playing better. Their defense is
Better.
playing pretty solid.
It's okay.
I don't know. It's a fair line. Like
Yes.
you're either going to say the Giants can keep it close at home with a good defense, and I guess DeVito has been serviceable,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
maybe the Packers come in a little sleepy, or you think the Packers are playing really well and they're going to make a playoff push, and they're just going to take care of business and they'll win by at least a touchdown. So I think this is a tough one because like you can make a great case either way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know, like I do think this will be a close game initially just because of the whole Packers off the Chiefs game downer situation. I just don't know if the Giants can hold the Packers down for a full game the way that the Packers offense has been playing, but we'll see. We got one game left,
Woot.
and it is your Tennessee Titans at the Miami Dolphins. I have the Dolphins by 13.5.
I have them by 11.5.
I'm almost right on this one, I think. It opened at 13.
It's 13.
Yeah.
13.
13. So it is 13. So I get that one. Right. So every Dolphins line, right? Like they're just putting up a ton of points. They're covering most weeks by, like covering these big lines. Like this line is very fair. It's about 2 touchdowns. Are the Titans going to keep it somewhat close, or are they not? It's just kind of, that's what it is. I don't know. Like it just seems like the Dolphins have been covering these. So do you just pick the Dolphins and go with it? I don't really know.
I think yes.
Yeah, I don't pick the Titans to win this game. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I mean, no, the Titans have.
Or what's their record? They're like
So they're
basically
4-8.
yeah, they're done.
So they've scored above 25 4 times this year, the Titans. And the Dolphins have scored above 25
100 times.
most of the time. Plus 1 time for 70. Just FYI.
Yeah, so we get 2 Monday night games, but I don't know which one might be. You probably only one of them might be decent. But
they should flex out Dolphins Titans for Bills Chiefs.
the Giants do they have 4 wins? Or
They are
3?
4-8. They've won. They've won in a row. So they kind of shellacked the Commanders, and then they beat the Patriots. The Giants did. So
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The Giants were a playoff team last year. There's still some fight in that team. Some things clearly have not gone the way they wanted to, and they're on their backup quarterback. So their second backup quarterback.
I don't know when this came out, but Daboll is the coach of the Chiefs, and Wink Martindale's the defensive coordinator, and there was something about them arguing over something.
Hmm.
And then Daboll said, the only thing Wink and I argue about is who gets the last piece of pizza or something like that. Cause they're both large people who
Yeah.
like to eat.
Budgie guys.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's funny.
Dolphins here. Good job deflecting. Attaboy.
Leave the points, take the Dolphins.
All right, there you have it. So there's 2 buys this week. It's the Cardinals and the who cares? Can't be anybody good.
Nope. I don't know off the top of my
I'm
head.
gonna look it up quick just because it's gonna bug me if I don't. It is the. My phone's not working, so I can't look it up. Cardinals and the Rutabagas
No.
are on by this week. I got it. Commanders.
Oh,
Couple of bad teams that start with
forgettable
a C.
teams. Yeah.
The Cardinals beat the Steelers. They thrashed them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back. The Steelers' offense is broken. The defense is good. And then was that Kyler Murray?
Yeah. To my credit, I did say the Cardinals were going to cover that last
Yeah,
week.
you did. You did.
And there was 2 thunderstorm delays in that game.
Yes.
So like the Cardinals got the lead and
Yeah.
then all the fans left.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh yeah, of course they're going to
24-10.
But and then Trubisky came in, whatever. So the Cards and the Commanders are on bye. It's the last week of buys. Most people's fantasy playoffs start either this week or next week. Good luck to all of you.
Go
Vikings!
Bears.